a lot of hyper-aggressive men.
18 to 25, hyper-aggressive, taught and trained to do violence. And you're in a place, let's say Germany, where the drinking age is
17,
16, 17. But yeah, so you go into a bar and you don't realize the girl you're dancing with is 16 years old. So now not only are you a hyper-aggressive, drunk 18-year-old, but you just committed statutory rape.
Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of pitfalls.
And that's bad. But just
yeah,
point
it
that
is
out.
bad.
You know,
At least statutory dancing.
Yes.
you know. And gaming, it's not like you said. You know, you've got there's stereotypes, and there's people who have had bad experiences with gamers, or you know, like you said, your platoon sergeant. You know, he looked down on gamers because of his former roommate and things like that. There is that stereotype that people have to get over. You get to this point where people are making fun of you, or you feel like you're being isolated from this, you know, this larger group. That makes the group that you find that much more important to you.
Absolutely.
And in my own personal experience, when the gaming group left, we all processed out of country, there was one guy left. And that guy he felt so alone, he ended up drinking himself to sickness, and to the point where he had to be hospitalized for alcohol poisoning.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's that loss of social interaction, because you kind of isolate yourself a little bit, and then all of a sudden that's gone, and then you have nothing. That would be to the extreme. What gaming can do to you, it's a very social thing, but it can also isolate you from the other, you know, a lot of people around you. So you got to be careful about those things.
The more you know.
So, I mean, like, I'm not trying to bring everybody down, but I'm just saying, you know.
I know this is kind of a heavy episode, man.
Yeah. Well, this also goes to the first game I ran in Germany, where the people playing were two other guys who had never gamed before, and my wife. And basically it was I had missed gaming so much after having been almost a year without picking up dice that I found two guys that I thought would be into it and, you know, had kind of heard of it but had never given it a try. Mm-hmm. And we started a game of D&D 3.5 at my house.
First game's free.
And yeah, it was. I mean, after that, it was pretty much every day that we had off together, we had a game going for a couple hours.
Now, okay, let's go away from, well, Sean, you haven't said anything. You got anything to say about it?
So far, no, I'm just taking it all in.
Okay.
Sean's probably the most casual.
Yeah, he's very casual
of
gamer.
gamers.
Okay, let's go from the theory of just gaming in general, and let's get a little bit more focused. Many of us here have ran a game or come up with stories for a game.
Or stories for characters.
Stories for characters, backstories, things like that. Gaming is a great creative outlet.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
That's my number two, is you're creating something fresh, something new to you, even though it may not be a new idea. It's a bizarre dichotomy. I love making characters. I just like the process of making a character. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to a game, I'd rather just have a pre-gen. You know, just give me something to play. But like, I love the process of making a Shadowrun character and going through all the books and reading, you know, all this great content and making something new out of it.
Right.
Speaking as a guy who went to film school to be a screenwriter and a film director, and then, you know, utterly failed in that career.
Well, I don't think you haven't really tried yet. You haven't dipped your toe into those
We just need to work on the proper application.
Eric and I had a screenplay that's circulated around through several screenwriting contests. And there's this whole thing where...
Is this the one that got ripped off and they're actually making it into a
yes, Matt Damon's going to be in
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Damn you, Matt Damon.
Where the hell was I going with this?
Rewind.
We don't know.
Just being someone who is a natural storyteller, but not when he's speaking, clearly. It's an opportunity to tell a story, to have people that you're friends with be involved in that story, so at least somebody is listening to your nonsense.
Well, I think just the process
Hence the podcasting.
I think just the process of creating something and keeping your mind working keeps you sharp.
Well, one of our other listeners, Ebrion, says it helps him with his ADHD. Which,
awesome.
You know,
Sitting right there. Pointing to Jason.
I've case in point, I'm playing Mass Effect 1 for
Again.
and for over the last week, I've started the game, found something that I didn't like about it, started over and done it again.
As I said, this choice now,
like,
you got problems.
No. The thing is about Mass Effect, I know what to do with the game to get to certain places, so my brain is kind of doing two things at once. I've been working on a novel that I've been playing with forever in my head while I'm playing the game. And the game is just thumbs and fingers. The mental process is...
So your brain's on cruise control.
Yes.
Or your hands are on cruise control or your brain is working.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes gaming, for especially somebody with, you know, an attention deficit, it could be something to help focus that energy into something. Making floor plans or making characters over and over and over again. you know, or making the same character over and over and over again with little tweaks.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, that's a way
During
to focus
the game,
it.
no less.
That's a way to focus that energy. Of course, you can become obsessive about it, and then it crosses that line. But yeah, I can see where it could help somebody with, you know, attention deficit.
I'm not sure it's to help if I have ADHD.
I'm sure.
I don't think I actually do. I might be ADD.
Ooh,
Look at me.
shiny.
Look at me. I'm definitely not hyperactive for crying out loud.
Hyperactive and active, two different things.
Well,
True.
I don't. I really don't think that's helped me concentrate on anything necessarily. I don't know the rules for most of the games we play.
That's about investment. You're just not invested in that portion of the game.
I like to say that, and I think I put it on the website, that I stopped caring about the rules about the time 3.5 came out.
Well, yeah, but I think that with you, it's you become focused on the things that you become hyper focused on your character. You become ADHD about your character. You're not redoing things and readjusting things, but you're constantly like drawing pictures of think about Cray, your thief that you drew out a whole picture of his back just so you could draw out all of his tattoos.
Yeah,
you know,
that was nasty.
Oh yeah, he also drew some other tattoos for his Shadowrun character.
His Shadowrun character. What was that, Jason?
Was it the whale?
It was a tramp
dolphin?
stamp.
Well,
Yeah.
it was a tramp stamp. It had
It was
For
a
a guy, no
whale.
less.
it had waves and a whale.
A dolphin. wasn't
No,
it?
it was a dolphin
And
And a sperm whale.
Yeah.
Anchor?
a sperm whale.
Yeah.
Over
A dolphin
Had
and a
an
sperm
anchor
whale
in the
over an
middle.
anchor.
Yes.
But then below that was an anvil
Right in the crack of your ass.
right above the crack of his butt, and then above his pubic area.
Yeah, we're not anal or nothing.
Above his pubic area was a hammer.
Yes.
Working through some issues.
Right. And that's what
No
something
homophobia
that's very
here.
cathartic.
This goes
Hey,
back
what
to
has gaming done for you? He come out of the closet.
no. But I made this character basically in response to the fact that Greg had made a character once that, unbeknownst to everyone
Sure,
else,
blame
He
Greg.
wasn't openly homosexual.
after he got killed, Greg said, and he was openly gay. What?
Really?
No,
We never knew.
not
This is
openly
one of
gay.
the characters
Not
that
openly
when
gay.
I went through 9 characters in 7 weeks in
Yeah. You were
Shadowrun.
just kind of reaching for any
Yeah.
kind of.
And
was
this
just-
character was gay. What?
And it was inspiration drawn from Shore Leave from the Venture Brothers.
Yes.
Yes, my character was definitely drawn from that,
Right.
for sure.
So.
Great cartoon. Awesome.
Yes.
Love it.
Something else that playing games, not so much being the DM or GM, but actually playing the games themselves, it gets you used to problem solving, you know, and puzzles, things like that, thinking logically. You know, there's a lot of logic problems in some of the riddles and things like that in games, especially fantasy games.
I think you finally touched on one of the things I was going to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Logic thinking and critical thinking. I think a lot of the gaming that I've done over the years has broadened my mind. Whereas I think if I didn't hang out with other gamers or was into all that, I'd be a very narrow-minded person, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean more narrow-minded?
Well,
I mean, in a different
Yeah.
way.
along those same lines, I was thinking about this too. I mean, I was trying to think of if there's one thing that's bound our group together, it's been gaming. I mean, we have other common interests.
Sure.
But I think even some of the common interests that we have came from having hung out with each other. I don't think I would be a hockey fan if I didn't know you,
I'm
Eric.
actually less of a hockey fan now that I've been hanging out with you guys for so long.
I'm sorry, Mark. I mean,
Nobody's
I had
perfect.
I'd never watched a game until I
Yeah.
started hanging out with you guys,
Oh, yeah.
and I really think that if I had not sat down with you guys in 7th grade and started playing, that I may have been hanging out with another group, and might be in a totally different direction. I don't really think I'd be better off. I don't think I'd be better off at all.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm glad you brought that up.
I read a real interesting, it was a quote or just an idea, is that you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with the most.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and that really speaks to your point.
Yeah.
I know Brian used to joke with me because I would say,
He said you ruined his life.
Well, I used I used to joke that I brought everybody together.
Yeah.
And Brian would say, "Oh, so you're the one I have to blame for this."
Right, because
You
before
ruined my
he
life."
started hanging out with us, he was on the football team.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's my fault.
I was on the football team.
I also didn't stop him from playing soccer either.
So,
Foot, F-U-T.
football.
Football. Das Boot.
I think, Mike, for you, I think, when I was thinking about this topic today, I was thinking about how you hang out with us, but you have a second life.
That's right.
But and gaming if it wasn't for gaming, then a lot of that wouldn't.
You mean my online celebrity?
Your online celebrity.
Wow.
That's right.
look at the ego.
I love it.
Do you need a bottle of
I've
water?
never seen
Martell?
Mike grin so widely than he is right now.
I just saw his headphones expand.
I love when Mike gets all, I am the man.
I was just cutting to the chase.
But it's true.
You were dancing around it.
That was
Well,
perfect.
I put it this way: it's true because none of us have ever been recognized at Gen Con except Mike,
That's true.
and I was with him. I witnessed it. So
Well,
I mean,
the last place I want to be recognized is Gen Con.
It's the.
I even duck you guys at Gen Con.
oh shit up.
You won't do it this year. I remember that. I remember. I don't remember that specific moment, but yeah, it was the. Mike had been doing things online, on Cannon Fire and things like that for a long time, and we never really knew much about it because it wasn't something you brought up. It was like, wow, people know who Mike is. What the hell, But
Well, that all plays into the creative outlet thing that you get out of gaming.
right, and
I just
if
directed it in
something Dan says all the time.
Good content rises to
Right,
the top.
and,
That's the hope. Over a long enough timeline.
I think that's an interest because none of us really have that perspective, but you have that perspective that if gaming gave you a outlet to do things online with people you never would have met before.
Nope.
I'm usually jealous at Gen Con because Mike runs off and plays with people we don't know, and
Mike's always done it.
He's out there banging real hot chicks.
He's banging booth babes.
You didn't know that? Oh,
I'd like to say something, but my girlfriend's right upstairs.
you won't be doing any of that, cousin. I'll be keeping an eye on you this
Yeah,
year.
no ties on the door this year.
Nope.
So
We're all in the same room. It ain't happening.
I'm hanging out with Mike.
now, as for gaming itself, just like anything, if you don't do something enough or frequently enough, you lose it. It goes with painting miniatures, drawing maps. Imagination's the same way.
it helps to keep your mind sharp. It's
Right.
like they tell Alzheimer's patients that you need to read, you need to watch things, you need to help keep your mind
Doing
active,
mental activities like
because your brain will atrophy.
Math was never one of my has
Disposable
never really
skill.
been one of my strong suits. But I honestly believe that because of the game, my math was stronger.
Quite specifically,
In that period.
THACO. Let's be honest.
yeah.
because
I will testify to that same
Stupid
situation.
THACO is algebra.
Yeah.
I mean that's
It's
all
like-
it is.
No,
they
it's
made
dumb.
me take college algebra 4 times and fail out before they finally let me go to a psychologist and get a deferment.
I believe that comic books made me a better reader, and I believe
I totally agree on that.
Well, when you were
that D&D made me a better math person.
when you were going to
Mathematician.
school and you were learning various things like math, you never knew what the application for that would end up being.
Yeah, how am I going
And
to
role playing is an application for the things you learn.
Well, I also used to tell our computers teacher that in circa 1985, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm never going to use a computer.
Right. Yeah, really.
have you seen him recently?
Back then, you're sitting on an Apple IIe and you're like, open Apple X.
Tandy, sir.
TRS-80.
Playing Test Drive.
I think it was
No, we were. I don't know what we were doing.
floppy.
So you guys had computers? Good. I didn't.
I had
We
a
did.
computer programming class when I was in, I think, 7th or 8th grade for Apple IIe.
Yeah.
And I was learning how to program Apple IIes.
Pascal for life.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But talking about imagination and things like that. Also, we have a unique situation in that we've been gaming so long together that to entertain other people, we have to come up with better ideas.
Right.
It's like we can't keep doing the same old thing over and over again.
Although Dan insists that that's what we do.
You'd love to
Look at him over there.
I will not deny that I do believe that is what you do. Or had done up to that point.
Yeah, but I think our Sea Princes campaign is using that as an example. And we talked about it before with themed campaigns and things like that. You come up with really good ideas as a group because you want to do something different. If we were just, if it was just one of us and we were rotating in and out different gamers all the time, you'd be able to run some of the things that you've already run before. You can't do that with gaming. You can't run an old adventure. You just can't, because it's like, you know, telling the same joke over and over again.
I wouldn't say that's necessarily true. We have run through the same adventure a few times, same book adventure, but
That's trying to relive the past.
no. But Mike has run us through adventures that we haven't done for over 20 years that we really don't remember what we did the last time we did it.
So there, you got to wait for.
Yeah,
Mike waits
Memory
for it to
fade.
become new again.
yeah, that's why I mentioned earlier.
He's just way better than Hollywood. He actually waits a reasonable amount of time before he does his remake.
I know I've been through the temple. I know I've maybe not all the way through it, but I know I've been to the Temple of Elemental Evil more than once with different characters. You know,
I
years
I
apart.
definitely like the
I just
idea.
got a question. Why would you go to a temple that was named that?
Because
Why-
it's there, sir.
Why would anybody? Why would you walk into a dragon's lair?
Because it's